Hello, beautiful people, and we are back with another episode of Honey, It's Yours. Bow. I'm Tanae.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Rianne. And to my right, we have a very special guest with us today. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Jaeson Williams. Do I talk about what I do, who I am?
Sure.
What are you doing?
Whatever you want to share, honestly.
I am a...
Who are you?
Sometimes I introduce myself as the dean of elementary school first. Sometimes I introduce myself as a therapist. But honestly, I don't really feel like I'm those things. I'm just a guy who gets paid to talk to people, and people like the way I speak. So that's what I get paid to do. I get paid to speak to people.
And today we get the opportunity to speak to you.
So Jaeson, we invited you here today because our topic is kind of surrounding conflict styles and styles of resolution, and we kind of want to get your perspective. Before the episode, we took it upon ourselves to take a quick quiz just to figure out what our style of conflict is, and hoping that you can help us kind of navigate the best way to resolve our problems and grow from where we are currently.
It's giving free therapy.
That's what it sounds like. You know what?
We told you that we were going to talk about stuff, and you were like, "Yeah, this is free therapy." But honestly, a precursor to this episode, like we were talking about forgiveness and conflicts and how that came into like a crossroads between you forgiving because if you're having conflict, that's how forgiveness kind of works with this conflict. So we decided, like, let's talk about conflicts, right?
Okay.
So
we
what are the five?
Episodes.
I have the 5 categories here that are based off of assertiveness and cooperativeness.
Okay.
I like that wordness at the end.
Clearly.
Okay. The first one is avoidance, which is none of the both. So none of assertiveness or cooperativeness. 2, accommodating, which is cooperative but not assertive. 3, competitive, which is
assertive, not cooperative.
There you go. See,
Yes,
I always got
service.
4, collaborative or problem solving, which is
I'd say both.
I think, but there's a level.
Yeah, it's like a ratio of both.
A ratio of both, and then 5, compromising, which is a even balance of both. Okay. So we want to go down the ranking and see what people got.
Sure.
If you have been watching this for a long time, you should already stop and take a guess.
What Ashley and Rianne are. But hey, who am I?
I'm
What about the rest of us? What about the rest of us?
I feel like you guys are a little bit more on the money though.
Yeah. So for me, I got 91% compromiser, 58% avoider, 55% problem solver, 50% accommodator, and 0% competitor.
0% is crazy to me.
Because I don't sit here and try and push.
I feel like you should be very intentional about how you express why you are not a competitor. She's not a competitor because she doesn't try to see who's right.
Yeah, my goal is not for me to be right ever.
You have no personal stakes in the argument.
Ever. It's more just like, let's just have, I'll say I used to, like if you caught me a year and a half ago, if you caught me a year and a half ago, it would be, no, I'm having this conversation to be right. I'm not having this conversation to come to a resolution. You're going to hear me out and you're going to understand what I'm saying regardless of whether you agree or not.
It's giving
growth. So now I've taken a huge step back, and I don't want stakes in an argument. We're just gonna have a conversation.
Wait.
Okay.
It's not.
I have a question, but I feel like we should all go through.
Save it. Yeah.
My question was gonna be like, but is, of course, a healthy balance of both is good, but you're a 91% compromiser.
But you know what? It's not even about what's good or bad. It's about what works in the relationship or the conflict that you choose. So we'll come back. We'll table.
Everybody.
I want to hear this.
Yeah. Okay.
Go.
We're gonna go there.
Thank you.
Okay. Mine is 75% avoidance.
That's a good word.
Don't snap.
That's a good word.
It's not good or bad. Come on, we're not learning. In your relationships, though, does that work?
Hold on. Wait. Pause. We'll come back to this.
Okay. Who does it work for? For the person or for me?
Who's it about?
Who's it about? Is it about me?
We'll talk about it.
But right now, it's about me. Okay. I am 75% avoidance, 64% compromising, 57% accommodating, 45% collaborative, and 8% competitive.
Guys, she snapped for herself.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to take this test because I already knew what I was going to be. What was that?
So in true Danae fashion, I lost my results, but I don't know where it went. Honestly, I just took the test. I do remember I was collaborative, 90, what?
90 something.
92.
Yeah.
92% collaborative.
Your problem solving was 91.
Problem solving.
Yeah.
My competitive was 58.
Yeah. It was
And then my avoidance was 17. I don't remember the ones in between.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest is in between there somewhere.
You weren't an avoid.
It's very on brand,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Which is what?
Very on brand.
It is on brand. Hi.
Let me get mine. Mine was also very accurate with the iTunes. I actually took a class on this in college, so I know a thing or two. Also a therapist. I'm 83% avoidant, 79% accommodating, 36% compromising, 27% problem solving, and 17% competitor.
Okay.
Wow.
So then now from those things, what do you guys think avoidance, like what does it mean? Like I know it gives you like the results and stuff, but I guess people don't really know fully what these words mean all the time. So what is avoidance?
You want the Google
You
definition?
know, you
No,
want
I want
the
the-
avoidance to define?
Oh, you want the paper?
Oh,
Alright.
yeah.
So according to and by the way, the quiz that we took is from the United States Institute of Peace. If you guys want to try it, I'm gonna put it down below. Not sponsored. But the definition is avoiders tend to step away from conflict. They often keep their opinions to themselves in conflict situations so as to not continue or escalate the conflict. They are often admired for having a calm, quiet presence in the face of crisis.
Okay.
Their weakness is also listed. Avoiders sometimes keep their feelings bottled up and they aren't able to meet their own needs. This can result in a frustrating buildup of emotions.
Yeah, so from that alone, two avoiders should not be in a relationship with each other. not even like a relationship, but if you're like in like a partnership or whatever, if there's a conflict and you're both refusing to answer the conflict, it's not going to work. But I can also see how being an avoider really works because sometimes you're too heated to engage in conversation right now. And some people don't understand that you got to really step away to allow feelings to like settle out so your logic can come back into the picture.
And so when you have the conversation, when they ask you certain questions, you can have a response.
And a level head.
Yes.
At peace.
Yes. But then if you never get to the conversation, then you just became level-headed for what reason?
But my thing is, right, you said two avoiders. But me and Rianne, how do you get along really well? But I think it's not just as simple as just what your level is, also the personality traits that layer on top of the conflict management. Because if you're not a if you're not a problem person, like if you don't cause problem, I feel like if you're not a drama
Don't make that
person.
face. Don't make that face.
Because what does that mean to be a problem person?
Yeah, what does it mean?
Wait, I didn't finish the sentence. If you're not a drama-filled person, right? For me, that means not focusing only on what's wrong. More so, like you're a more optimistic person of focusing on what's right, not right, what's going well, whatever.
Good way to put it.
Then there's nothing to avoid because there's nothing there.
But that's not. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I just don't think that that's real life. Like there's always gonna be.
I'm saying that's what I said. Me and Rianne. I don't think we don't have problems with each other.
Right.
We've never had a problem with
There's
each
nothing
other.
to avoid.
There's nothing
It's
to
just
avoid
vibes.
because it's vibes.
Just vibes on vibes.
But now, if you did have a problem with each other based on your conflict style, you just wouldn't address your conflict, and you would like live in this like delusion of, all right, well, I feel good about it. Now. I feel good about it.
Delusion is a big word.
It is a delusion.
Delulu.
But we shall wait to get there. But I think
I hope
But
y'all
then it's
got
also like
these.
understanding the dynamic and like the relationship, the level of relation. Like you and me and have a relationship and y'all are very close, but y'all also don't talk on a date, as far as I know, on a day-to-day basis. So the amount of
Opportunity.
like the percentage of like there's not that much to get to a point for there to be a.
as a avoider.
But is that because they're avoidant people? But also they're not.
No.
Y'all not
No,
avoidant.
I'm not saying if Sarah, if you and I talk every day, if we're in contact all the time, there's more things
There's
that
more
can become a
opportunities,
thing
problems.
versus if it's vibes.
But I
all
think
the
that's
time on a
that's what I
limited
said.
basis.
The other layers of it all is the personalities.
Yeah.
Our personalities we're not we're not people that need to see each other or talk to each other every single day.
Right. That is true.
So
Yeah.
if our personality is not to see each other every single day, not to like we're more on the optimistic side of things. There's not much, and when there is, I think what's your second one? Accommodating, and mine is compromising. I feel like that can help.
That balances
that
out
can,
the heavy hitter on top.
That can help the one on the top.
That's an assumption that it balances it out, but it can. You feel me? You can definitely tap into different aspects of your conflict resolution style. It doesn't mean you're unable to do the other one, but it's like what you're more prone to do. So you can have a tendency to be an avoider or a compromiser or whatever, but you can learn to operate in your weakness. It's like impossible to do something you're bad at.
Because I feel like me and Rihanna have had situations we had to say something.
Yes.
That's probably tough, right?
I feel like every situation is tough. I feel like
I think it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable, and I would just rather not be in the discomfort. Why not just be in peace? Exactly. Peace. Good vibes.
Well, there's nothing wrong with having conflict with people. I feel like people try to avoid having problems because they want to keep peace. But your ability to maintain peace is your ability to problem solve. Because if you can't problem solve, when problems come up, you lose your peace and you can't get it back. So how you gonna get your peace back? By problem solving.
I was like, so can I ask a question? When it comes to the problem solving aspect, do you always need the other person to solve the problem? Because I feel like sometimes, right? Maybe this is
an avoidant thing.
But I also feel like it is very possible for me to fix it within myself and be good. Like sometimes it doesn't necessarily
have no ill intention
need to be.
I feel like you want to say something.
I always have something to say.
I want you to say something because I know you have an answer.
Yeah, I just. So I'm not gonna say like you're living in Delulu. Like that was funny though. But it's just like.
But you want to say I'm living in Delulu.
No, my whole thing is you came up to whatever, like one, depending on what the situation was, you decided what the actual problem was all on your own, and that may not have actually been the actual situation. You dealt with shit, like you had this whole conversation in your brain about what you thought was yes or no, and that might not even be the actual issue at hand, and you didn't allow the other person to have anything to do with that thing. And like moving forward, you can still have the same situation, but you didn't allow that other person to come in any way, shape, or form, and you dealt with that on your own, but did you really deal with it? Because you don't even know if what you're dealing with is actually the thing to deal with.
She felt that, and that was a good point.
I don't know.
Can I just say, sometimes a problem for me may not be a problem for the other person.
Ooh.
For example, let's say we went out to dinner. The reservation was for 7:30. We got there at 7:45. I'm upset. Person B is not, because we still got a seat and had a great night. So why am I gonna make it a problem if it's not a problem?
Okay, but in this one scenario, it may not have been a problem. Like you ate it, and now 7 times later, it's bro, you're always late. But did you ever Did you ever allow me? I'm just saying. Did you ever allow me the opportunity? Like, this bothers me. I could try to make a concerted effort because I can operate outside of things that are the norm for me for somebody that I care about, to make sure that I'm taking you and what's important to you into consideration as well. And yes, there is a part of like, why do you have to do that? But in terms of maintaining relationships,
I'm not saying that part. I'm saying, why do you always assume that the person's going to bring it up to you after 7 times? We're okay, we're accepting, okay.
Okay, well, I'm talking about in a situation where like we're interested in maintaining relationships in the long run without resentment or things underlying.
Why do you think I'm going to resent you because I ate this one thing this first time?
It's not so much that it's a resentment thing, but eventually you're going to recognize patterns, and certain patterns are going to rub you the wrong way. And
what if you just say that pattern is who they are and you accept them for that?
Just accept that that's how they are.
Yeah,
they're just late.
Then you have to. Then you can do like one of 3 things. You can either accept that pattern and keep on dealing with the internal problems by yourself. 2, you can just ignore it and just go through the phases and be upset some days and then get over it. Or 3, you can like do something about it. Like you can actually talk to the person, because and I'm speaking for like specifically romantic relationships. If you're in a relationship, you are not just yourself. You are you, and you are you in a relationship. So if you in the relationship is really upset, then you as a person can figure it out by yourself. But in your relationship, you're upset. That's not a healthy relationship.
So in those 3, right? So what would you suggest is the most right thing to do?
The most right thing to do is always to confront people when you have issues.
So if I ignore, I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're fine.
But you said that the other 2 are things that you can do, right?
Yeah.
So if those are the two things are what you can't do, I'm more leaning towards the ignore and just accepting, right?
So it's like, why can't I just do those things all the time, right?
Yeah, because, and then if something really, I feel like, it's pestering, then I can confront. But if it's something small, for me, lateness is not small to me, so that's something I would say. But if something as small as, I don't know what's something small.
Replacing.
You like to wear your tie tucked in your left pocket. Okay, that's something small. Whatever. I don't care. After the second, third time, I'm gonna keep saying, I don't like it. That's how you like to wear your tie. It's okay. That's why you like to comb your hair. I love you beyond that. Right. I can accept that. I'm gonna keep 7 times later, and then you assume that, okay, why didn't you tell me the first time? Because I'm still getting to know you. I'm still accepting to see who you are. Mm-hmm. I'm not here to I always go back to this change a person, but this is not something as big for me to discuss.
Well, then also thinking about, you have to choose your battles, right? Because your conflict type is avoidance, so to you that works. But now if you're in a relationship with somebody who is not the same way as you, you have to now figure out a way to live and do life with that person. This person likes to confront their problems. I do not. Is this going to work out for us? If eventually, and I like to use this analogy a lot, you can poke holes in a ship sail or the bottom of a ship, whatever, and then it's not a problem. You can patch up the little hole, whatever, but eventually the integrity of the ship or the sail is going to eventually dwindle. And then you have to make the choice, is this ship worth sailing? And then you have to be like, all right, maybe this ship is worth sailing with some repairs. But if you never do the repairs, the ship is going to sink. And you're like, this ship is sinking because the ship sucks. Maybe your repairing skills suck.
And then as a problem solver, I think I would also say, it's not always you need to tell me the first time, because what you said, yes, we're still learning each other, we're still seeing things. But once it starts to become this is a thing. It's not a thing yet, but it's becoming a thing.
Right.
And it's there's still ways you can address it. You don't have to be like, hey, let's sit down and talk. I hate the way you put your tie in your pant. It's still the personality. You could joke about it. Here you go this time. You can start to have conversations in a way that's not always rah, rah, rah off the bat. But then now, down the line, when you're mad about something else, or it comes up in some other way, I'm going to be like, oh, so you want to be mad at me for something I've been doing for the last 4 months,
right?
Yeah.
And you never said it to me, and now in this moment you want me to be receptive. Now that you have figured out how to tell me 4 months later.
And I think that there's also credence to the other way of doing things too, because you can know that some battles are just not worth fighting, and you can really handle some things on your own. But you have to be reflective and realize, okay, am I fighting too many battles by myself? Is my partner really my partner? Because they're supposed to fight battles with you. And people have allies in wars all the time. You're not going to ask your ally for help every single battle, but some battles you need allies. Mm-hmm. So are you forfeiting your...
Go to therapy.
Everything he said is...
I object. No, it's not an objection. I have a question.
Yeah.
No,
because he's talking.
Don't take me seriously. No. You don't need therapy. You're very healthy.
We all need therapy.
Even if you're healthy.
We all need therapy.
Everyone needs therapy.
You have to stop now and go make a therapy.
Right. The last 3 episodes, I've had my moments. Let Ashley get his shit off, please.
No, not Ashley. We avoidant. Don't be looking over there.
Why are you looking at avoidant?
Okay, my question. Let's get back to topic, right? My question was you were talking in sense of romantic, right?
Yeah.
What about friendship?
Yeah, well, friendships is a lot more touch and go. If a friendship is really not working for you, you can really cut a friend out your life.
You can't do that with a partner? I mean, if you're not married?
Well, think about it. What is your goal for being in relationships? Right, if your goal is to build and do life with somebody, you're going to approach it from a different perspective.
That's what I'm saying. His context is much more serious, but I think it's healthy. Thank you for doing that.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Everything nowadays is just a touch and go type of situation anyways. But if you're looking to build a life with somebody, you're going to have to get rid of some of this.
Ooh. No, he just said, no, wait. Now let me put my back straight. He just said in the beginning, you were not listening. None of these are good or bad.
Okay, a relationship in which it works.
Exactly.
Make it work together. My question is, what about...
I was adding spice. I didn't actually mean that.
What about lifelong friendships?
Lifelong friendships are friendships because they work. Right, and the reason that they work.
No lifelong friendship.
No. The reason that they work is because people work to maintain them.
This is a bad idea. You're all done.
You have to choose to maintain things. If you don't want to maintain something, you're gonna peace out of it. But if you're choosing to maintain something, you're gonna go through thick and thin. And some friendships, and I love reading the Bible, right? In Proverbs it says, some friends stick closer than a brother. And then in the chapters before it says, brothers are born for a time of adversity. So you need people to go through hard times. Are these the type of people you trust on to get you through hard times?
Do you feel like there are certain personality types that are more prone to fight for friendships than others?
Yes.
Let's get into it.
Yes.
I think the compromiser is probably more likely to fight for a friendship.
Why? Read it.
Oh, I think a compromiser should read it. I did
I'm
not
at
read it.
64% of compromising.
Go for it. I have 91%.
Go ahead.
Oh, wow.
Compromisers approach conflict with the goal of compromise. They tend to think about what they are willing to give up and what they are willing to hold on to, and try to gear communication to focus on this give and take for all parties. It is a good way to promote cooperation. It can be done fairly quickly when both parties are engaged.
So they're selfish.
Really?
No. I'm joking.
See.
Because they're giving off of this is what I can do. This is what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to compromise. I'm willing to make that step based on what they want to do. That's compromise.
But what if
they described it.
But what? Okay, so in the way that I kind of took it was that I don't want to be in conflict anymore. And I want to see where we both went wrong, if that's the situation, and just talk about it and understand each other's perspectives more. Yeah,
but unfortunately, you're going from a logistical way, and people are both logic and emotions. You have to give space for emotions to have their time. If emotions don't have their time on stage, logic is going to eventually become useless because, okay, I see that you're right, but I'm not willing to engage with you fully, like holistically. I hear you, you're right, I'm going to be mad over here while you do whatever you do.
But does that come to play when, depending on the person that you're having a conflict conversation about, right?
Yeah.
Like that whole, you're right, I'm wrong, I'm gonna deal with my emotions by myself. For me, I feel like I tend to go into that place because the what I'm receiving is not accepting of my point of view. So let's just say, for all peace sake, let's just say, okay, this is what it was. These are the facts of the issue. This is what it was. This is how you feel about it. This is how I feel about it. Okay, let me just, whatever I have left clearly is not going to be resolved in this conversation. So let me deal with it on my own, and that's when you get the other 75 from the 64, because. If I'm trying to compromise and trying to see where we can move or trying to repair the ship,
right?
And it's two people that's not acknowledging that there's a hole. You say, "Oh, the hole is there because you stepped in it after." Well, we both stepped in it, but what can we do after the fact?
Right. So, like,
but if you don't want to acknowledge that you might have stepped in it too,
right. So for
and my emotions out the door. Right. The fact of the situation is a hole in the wall. You don't want to. There's a hole in the ship. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Let's rebuild.
Okay. Yeah. So
bye. Now I gotta go fix these damn, what's it called? Splinters in my finger, and they hurt.
Well, yeah, I do agree that there's a level of allowing emotions to have stage and allowing logic to have stage. Obviously, if your ship is sinking, whatever, you need the logic to be like, wow, that is wrong. But also, why did you get a hole in your ship? What is going on with the ship?
Yeah.
What is going on?
I've become trying to figure out the middle ground between being emotional and being logical. Because I think I've become more of a logical person and less of an emotional person, but I used to be extremely emotional and no logic.
Ooh, when that typically happens, when people retreat from either or, they usually experience a lot of failure in one of these arenas. So it's like in the arena of emotions, I wasn't doing too well. Let me try the arena of logic. And then the other way around is a logic wasn't working for me. Let me just go off of vibes. So it's just like you have to find that middle ground. I've been hurt, but I gotta heal.
You hitting too many nails right now.
I'm just laying out what I know. Just laying out what I know.
Oh, this is good.
Not even I'm sorry. It's a nail. No, I just I don't know why I became such a logical person. I can't even blame law school for it, but I probably will because it just made me take emotion out of everything. But I just too scared to operate off of emotion because then it's if we're not on the same page, I don't want to sit here and convince you that I feel a certain type of way about a situation. If you don't see it, you don't see it. That's it.
And I don't know.
That's why I'm 58% avoider too.
I guess like my I don't even know if this is a thought or question. I don't know what it is, so it's gonna come out however it comes out, and like I will make it pretty. But I think it's just.
I said sheesh.
No, like I feel like in the conflict, right? Mm-hmm. You still have like it's words tonight. It's like y'all have been saying like I'm not gonna make you feel like like what I'm saying. It had pretty much from my version of saying it is like you don't feel like the other person is hearing you and seeing what you're saying to be true or valid. Mm-hmm. And I feel like. Is that really what they're saying, or is it the style of which is being communicated? Is it because you've already associated the person previously with a different way of communicating and you're not even seeing that? Because I feel like, at least with me sometimes, I'm like, no, I see and hear what you're saying. I get that, and I'm telling you what I'm seeing and hearing too. But because I may have just said it in a more logical way, because I still said I see, hear, and acknowledge your emotions. Yeah. I'm here for that. I get that. I'm actually hurt by this as well. But it didn't come out the way in which you would have said it to me. So now you're also being avoidant in the way in which you're receiving it, and you're choosing not to go further with it either.
I think it's because of the way that it's received is not what we need to be affirmed in our feelings of the situation. It's like yes, I see you, but I feel this. Mm-hmm. We hear the but.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like the other person on the other side as well is like
I said something before the but.
Yeah, but I'm also saying on that, the way in which you now heard that, you felt you weren't affirmed and you didn't choose to affirm me either. You get what I'm saying? Like whoever, because one, like, let me go back. One, in a lot of these situations, the problem solver or the competitor or like the avoider is usually not the one to even begin the conversation.
Facts.
It just doesn't happen. It very rarely happens. And even if it does happen, it's usually in a like, I'm going to read or say what I have to, like, I'm going to read this out. So now it's the other person using their words in the moment to try to figure out what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So now if I'm trying to figure out what you're saying, affirming parts of it, trying to understand it for myself, and it didn't come out exactly the way you wanted it to come out, in me trying to now understand what you're saying to me, you automatically shut down before a conversation has started, and you're not affirming me even in that process of trying to figure it out.
I guess in the rare situations where we wrote it out, right? We already did try to do all the work. We built ourselves up to have the courage to say everything that we already processed before that we sat with. And then you try to dissect everything I just tried to like express. And then it's like, damn, I just wasted my time.
Yeah,
let me just go back into mine.
Yeah.
Right, and it's frustrating for us on the other side because it's like, you just came at me with a paragraph that you took 2 weeks to write. Or let me not say 2 weeks, a day, a month, an hour, whatever. You took time on your own to go through the entirety of your emotions and figure out how you wanted to present it to me. And I love that. I'm here for that. I respect that. Now that you have brought that to me and I tried my best to not interrupt you, to make sure you had the space to express everything you needed to express in a safe environment, where is now my grace to now sit here and be like, okay, you just gave me 15 sentences.
I guess that's
let me go through it.
Of it all. Like sometimes it's give and take. If you know that this is an avoidant person, and they built up all of this stamina to go into this conversation with you, I guess in that relationship, depending on what the goal is in that relationship, right, for you to step back now in that situation and just affirm, and then it affirm, make sure that they feel affirmed in what they just prepared to divulge in. And if you but most times it's hard to just not be selfless in that situation, because now it's emotion and human and everything is now building up, because now this is the conflict, right? Now this is the problem and the solving aspect of it all. And sometimes the avoidant is maybe not equipped in that moment to be on that same level of in the real time thing, but we just need to feel like I heard what you said. I feel what you said. What you said is real and valid. And I think that there's no room for either person to really feel comfortable in that situation. It's either you heard and got everything you needed from it, and we got nothing because we had to sit and wait for you to figure it out. And once you figured it out, I had to affirm you and just let you say your piece, because anything that I say may or may not affect you and shut you down further. And I still have to go home and eat all my feelings now, which is not what I wanted
all. And then when I'm ready to come to you and tell you how I feel in that moment, you now have to still sit and wait to give me a response.
I said the balance, not the person who's.
I'm just saying I don't think there is a balance, but I'm gonna be quiet. I'm sorry.
The person has to come in selfish and selfless, and you have to come in selfish and selfless. So
it's a selfish thing because I want to go back to the weakness of the avoider, right? Because I'm not even saying me because this is me to a T, right? I feel like I spend every day accommodating every single person. So now that it comes to that breaking point of me finally getting my feelings on the paper, it's like I understand because you know what it is? It's like the people around don't necessarily acknowledge all the time how much you are receiving off of them and accepting off of them. So like now that I've received and it's like I'm also building up my own, it's like for 2 seconds I just want everyone to stop and just listen and just hear me and hear exactly what I'm saying. And it's selfish because no one asked me to take up all their problems and no one asked me to eat everything and no one asked me to build up and explode like a volcano. But that's just the processing style of how I was raised, right? Or influenced, the trauma, all of that compiled into one has made this monster who feels like I have to sit here and take a blow for everyone who needs it. And then once I do, I'm tired of taking blows. So now it's building up, and then I explode. And it's like, you didn't even hear what I said. I'm about to go back to the hole and do what I'm doing again because obviously nobody cares, right? And it's a whole lot of self-sabotage in there. And it's a whole lot of self-deprecation and feeling as though you're not enough and self-esteem. And all that stuff compiled into one is what kind of leads to that, in my opinion. Okay. So I understand. I hear you completely because there's nothing about that makes sense, right? No, that's not what I'm saying. But it's how I work and it's how I function. So I get it because there's a person in my life who is also like that. Not like me, but he's on the other side where it's like his goal is to be the problem solver. So me not saying there's a problem is part of the problem because he knows there's a problem. But because I haven't reached max and I'm not ready to explode yet, there's no space for us to fix it before it becomes a bigger issue.
That's not even what I was going to say. But what I was going to say is the same way, and I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. What I'm saying is the same way that you feel like you go through life and you eat a lot and you hold a lot in and you wait. On the flip side, we do the same thing. We want to talk about everything. We see it, we eat it. We don't. So for you,
we did this already?
We talk about this all the time. This is like our main. This is how the podcast started, bro. This is how the podcast started. My thing is the same way that you hold it in and you feel like you're not ready to express it. We're so ready and we're eating all those times that we wanted to express it. And now we came up, and for you it still feels like it's too soon, and for us it would always still feel like it was too late. Wow. So now when we get in those spaces, it's like your timing felt perfect for you to say everything you had to say, and now it's like, okay, now that we're here, can I try to say something? And then anything I said that didn't hit the way you wanted it to hit, you shut down again. So it's just like, from my experiences, I've never felt like there's been a space where the person who was not in the same conflict resolution style as me was able to say what they said, felt heard, went home, felt good about it, and me feel the same. Or like if I was in the space where I gave them exactly what they needed, like, thank you for saying all of that to me, I'ma take it. Me, that process of going home and holding it and thinking about it genuinely tears me apart way more than if we had just had it in that moment.
But isn't this where now you have friends outside, and this is when you have a therapist to go talk to them about
But they're not the one that you have the issue with. So yes, I can have those situations, but if for me, my way of solving a problem is talking to the person I have the problem with, I'm not getting that from talking to anybody else.
Well, then you need to choose to be selfish and then just do it.
Yeah, and then that's not how friendship works.
Okay, let's let Jaeson.
F it all.
Let's let Jaeson talk.
Well, again, this goes back to the whole allowing emotions to have a place on the stage, or else they're gonna try and take over the show, right? If you have feelings of things that are bothering you and you're relying on your avoidance type personality and that's not giving you the results that you want, you have to switch up your strategy, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, like, okay, I ate it, I blew up. I ate it, I blew up, and then you're realizing maybe I should stop eating and maybe I should try to start sharing my problems with the other person, because not that they're gonna get it right away, but because you're starting to now train them basically of who you are. Like, this is who I am as a person. And if the way that you're trying to approach a problem is not giving results, again, It's not that the ship has holes. It's that the ship gets holes. Why is the ship getting holes? You can repair the ship, and then you can also change the way that you're moving about the ship. Maybe you're carrying too much stuff to the top deck. Maybe you're holding too much stuff in the bottom deck, and it's causing you holes. You patch up a hole, but you have all the stuff in the bottom deck, another hole is gonna come. You gotta start moving things around your ships, your relationships with people, so that you can have a functional one. And all relationships are not gonna be built the same, so I can't give general advice about how to go about this, but there's a perspective of having a belief that your relationship will get better, and you have to operate in that belief. If you don't believe your relationship is gonna get better, you're not gonna challenge it. And if you don't believe that relationship is if you believe it's gonna end, you'll challenge it fearing that it ends. And you can't approach people with fear, because fear is gonna stop you from doing actual things. Jeez. Again, I have a little mini sermon that I'm trying not to go on.
You go whatever you want.
But if you're afraid, the thing that you're afraid of, you are operating in, because your body is physically now producing cortisol and like fear hormones that's causing you to mess up the way you show your emotions, and it's messing up with the way that you have your logic. You're operating in fear. Not to say I'm afraid, but you physically are operating in fear in your body. You have to let the fear in your body go away so that you can talk to people. And if you have too much fear in your body, you have to partner up with somebody who does not have that kind of fear in their body, so that you guys can bring the fear on the table, talk about it, and do something to the fear. The problem is not the other person. The problem is what you believe won't happen. You don't believe it'll get better. That is the problem with all relationships, and that's why they end. I don't believe it's gonna get better. I'm going to step away. Wow. Is your relationship with somebody you're willing to step away from? If the answer is no, you put your fear on the table, because your fear is gonna cause you to step away, even if you don't want to. You have to make the choice. Are you stepping away, or are you committing? And if you're committing, you have to commit against fear.
I should take notes. I love how you said it's fear that it won't get any better, like you kind of just wrote.
Fear it won't get better.
I have never heard that out loud, but now that you're saying
it's so true.
That is very factual.
It's the facts, because
that's why sometimes I don't say, like, if it's with Rianne, I'll just bring it, because we have very healthy conflict, and we do a good job at her not being avoidant and me not being too strong in the conversation. But I think with other people, and let's talk romantically, I don't say things, I don't want to say things, because I figure you're not going to do anything about it. So why would I say anything in the beginning? I'm going to just let it go. And if it happens, it happens. You weren't meant, my mentality is that you weren't meant to be in my life anyways. But it's like, so what if I actually put an effort to actually say something? But then again, like, who was really meant to be in your life, who was not, if they can't just, I don't know. There's a lot to it, but I will let you get it off, because you have.
No, you actually had a point down here. I don't know if you want to get that off.
Oh, we can get into this later, but I think we're talking about our personal conflict resolution, like, mechanisms or whatever. But the second step of that is figuring out how to communicate it to the person how they want to hear it, because you can have your own style of communication, but if the person in front of you, if you don't say it how the other person can hear it and then receive it, is it really conducive to what you're doing?
Well,
because if I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off again.
Keep on going.
If I, for example, if I ever approach Rianne in a yelling manner or was loud to her, she's shut me down. She's not going to listen. However, if you're yelling at me, one thing I'm going to do is tell you to stop. We're not doing that. So, like, there's pushback, but, like, you still have to communicate the conflict in a way that the other person needs to receive it.
For sure.
So it's too much reading into people, because what am I supposed to do?
But see, that's why you said the goal. If you want things to get better and you have a goal in mind for this relationship to be long lasting, then you need to do all that layer work, right? But I want to get off, right? You're saying the changing and showing and moving things in the ship and not operating in the place that you feel comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. For me, what I find difficult is I got the chills. Sorry, I put the ear on. So now, once I finally get the courage to move out of the avoidance, right, and maybe be a little, what I'm low in? I'm low in the competitive, and I'm low in the collaborative, the accommodating, right? These are lower, but 75, 57, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And then the person's like, yo, why you moving all this stuff? you're not like this, but I'm trying to be better. But is the other person also trying to see that I'm trying to be better? Like, do they see that this frame right here in this room is better if we put it over here, because so we can see each other better. If this table's here, can I move it over here and sit? But now it's, you were never like this. This is different.
Okay.
This is different. This is weird.
And it's like, so what do you
What do you want from me?
I'm trying to do the work. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to communicate, because I had an issue with my last relationship where it was, bro, you don't tell me when you're mad. You just don't say anything, and then you just let me do what I want. And it's like, well, when I do tell you what I want, it's, oh, you're being dramatic. So I'll stop. I'm not gonna tell you. Cool.
Cool. And I think that's the trauma response to go back to what you
Sure
feel
is.
like.
Sure is.
But listen,
I throw your hand on
it's comfortable over here.
Man, I think the moment passed already. But I was I guess depending on like the situation, I guess, because obviously certain things, like if you told me you don't like that, I don't communicate, and then I start communicating, then it's like, what's happening? That's a direct. But I feel like there's certain things, like I can't think of a scenario right now, but there may be certain things that, depending on the relationship that you have the person with, sometimes, at least for me, sometimes I need you to communicate that you're now trying something new. And I'm not saying, and I know that sounds weird, and I'm
telling you what's making me mad because you told me that. I'm telling you what's making me mad. So in this moment, I'm telling you what's making me mad, and you're making me mad.
I literally just said it doesn't work in that situation. But like I'm saying, like for I don't remember, like I had a situation one time. I don't remember like the logistics of it, but like they started acting a different way. So now I was like, hey, are you okay? And then they're like, well, before I wasn't doing it and now I'm doing it. I said, I'm just asking if you're okay because you've never acted like this before and now you're doing this new thing. So I now still have to adjust to you doing this new thing. And I'm not against adjusting to you doing this new thing. I'm just making sure you're good because that's not how you usually act.
So you want that communication.
So even if I'm acknowledging that you're changing and I see, like once you explain to me, well, I was trying to do something new, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But even sometimes in me just asking, are you good? I'm not asking if you're good because I don't like the new thing or whatever. I just know that was not your norm prior to. So I'm making sure everything is okay on this day of the week.
Well, I think you guys brought up a very good point earlier when you said that you have to basically craft the way that you approach people with your problems, and because some people won't receive things in certain ways. And that doesn't just go for problems, but that just goes for all types of way you engage and communicate with people.
Right.
If you not that if you know, but if you can even believe the fact that if I approach them a bit too forward or I don't approach them at all, that's not going to give me the results that I'm intending to do, then I should craft or mold myself to make sure that I'm capable with this person, right? Sometimes we try to figure out if people are supposed to be or if they're compatible with us, but that's not really how life works. You grow and you mold and you change the way you're around people.
Hi, Hunnies. This is part 1 of this week's Honey It's Yours episode. Please be sure to listen to part 2 coming out next week. Bye.